I have included this PowerPoint on the list of files that I have shared with you on Blackboard, so you're more than welcome to open it and have it open while you're completing the assignment. As you learned in the previous video that I shared, you have several different sheets that are legends on this packet. And we will start with sheet 001. You can locate that on the PDF packet. In here we have different columns and rows to give us information about all the acronyms and numbers and every symbol that is on the P&ID. So we will start with the drawing number. You will notice that this title block lets us know what type of drawing it is, which is a flow diagram. The name of the area where the facility is. It gives us the name of the facility itself, and it also lets us know the name of the drawing. In this case, it's symbols and abbreviations. JDA, these are the initials of the person who drew the diagrams. The date that it was drawn. Scale says none, just because these is symbols and abbreviations sheet, but also remember the P&IDs do not have a scale. And then of course it gives us the drawing number here. This is LF0331-001. Now remember that I will just refer to this sheet as sheet 1, and I will do so with the rest of the sheets. After we look at the title block, let's look at the drawing numbering system that you have here. First of all, it tells us that this facility is LF, the site number. So the 0331 for the sheets is the site number here. You can also look for it there. See, 0331 is for Tri-County. So all the Tri-County PDFs and any type of drawing that comes from Tri-County will have this designated number attached to the drawing number. And then, of course, the drawing number is the last thing here. Drawing numbers, as you can see on the second column, lets us know what drawing numbers have been designed or designated for individual types of sheets. For example, from 0 to 9 is general information sheets, from 10 to 90 plot plans, from 100 to 299 P&IDs. So if let's say you only have 2 plot plans, the numbers will be 10 and 11. And then if the next sheet would be P&IDs, then the next sheet would be sheet 100. So we skip all of those numbers because those are, again, just designated for plot plans. I explained to you about northern and eastern lines in the last video, so I'm not going to go into details here. Pipelines. After the drawing number, we have line numbering. And if you look at the columns on the same sheet, sheet 1, then you will see that, and I know that I didn't zoom in here, but you can look at the actual PDF to look at what that says. In here you have size, so the first item here is size, and so that just means that this is a 12-inch pipe. GS, the second number, would be a service. The service, in this case GS, means gas. C is the classification, and the classification is listed on the second column here, down here, and this one is C, so class C is right here, and this one says 600 hydrocarbon process and utility piping. The next section of the line numbering is insulation, but this one doesn't have that, so this is not insulated. And then you have the line number is the last number that you see here. So that's the number that has been assigned to the line itself. Next is equipment numbering. So we have different designations for different types of equipment. Go back to sheet 0, which lists all the sheet numbers. The first column in there gives you the equipment number. Second column is the equipment name. And then the third column, it gives you the drawing number where the equipment is displayed. Let's say that we're looking at SE 1124. It's a vent scrubber. So if you look at SE on the sheet, it tells you that these are separators and scrubbers. If we look at SE 1124, I can find this item on sheet 112. So now I go to sheet 112, which is this one here. I find the equipment either on the top row or bottom row of the P&ID. Sometimes they are listed at the bottom, so do not dismiss that. Once I locate it, I'm going to mentally create like a little column around there to be able to locate it. So we have a filter here, so that's not our equipment, but I go down to see anything big, and here it is, SE1124. So this is where I find it. Also notice that there is more descriptive information about the piece of equipment here. The vent vessel, and it tells us what the serial number is and all kinds of information there. This is some of the information that I had skipped from before. Valve identification information is here, but on this packet of P&IDs, it does not give that description for them. So a lot of the times they will include information in the set of files that will be generic for every one of their drawings, and that valve information might be in a different drawing, but it's not on this one. And then we have layering information systems here. This is for the CAD file itself. Next sheet on the P&IDs, you will see pipe and instrumentation information. So this is the information for instruments, these two here and there. The first one here tells that all the circular symbols are instruments, and there's variations of those, and then it lets us know what each one represents here. And then for the identification, they give us the second column in this sheet, give us all the identification information that we need. For example, here LG is a level gauge, and then the numbers that are given to us, like this 258 here, is a loop number. Notice that this is looped with this one, 258. So this and that work in relationship with each other. Instruments are connected with each other through different types of lines. If you go to this sheet here, I think is number 4, you will see that you have some line information here. So if you have an instrument that is connected to another one, you may have this type of line that goes from one to the other, and that just lets us know that that's a pneumatic line. In here, I think it was just a dashed line, so it could be a little electrical line between these two. On the same sheet that we have instrumentation information, we have flow diagram abbreviations. These are the abbreviations that are going to be in different areas of our P&IDs, but they are not included inside these instrument bubbles. And so things like this, IGS here, if you look for it in this side of the sheet, it says instrument gas supply. Here's another one, FO, that says fail open, and that information will be seen here. Also, any information that is included in the description of each one of the equipment listings, then you will find that information here as well. We have 2 other sheets. One of the sheets here gives us information about valves. The type of valves that are included in the facility are here. The arrows that I explained on the last video. When a pipeline is insulated, you will see this symbol here, here, and there, depending on the type of insulation it has. And again, this is where we have all the instrument lines. On this section of this sheet, you will find other types of symbols that you will find in the P&ID. So it's just a matter of looking at these and seeing what they represent. Notice that the first one here is a reducer. I do want to mention something about this packet that I found out after looking at it more closely. Under equipment, if you go to RG, it tells us that it's a reactor sulfur or regeneration amine glycol and caustic. But when I look at the first sheet, RGs are typically just skids. This is what a skid looks like. It is a platform onto which pipe systems are mounted on. It's transported like that, and it's placed typically above a concrete platform. And so when we see skids here, that's what that represents. Now, if I was to look for RG601, it is on page 104. So if I go to page 104, now skid is not really equipment, but it was listed under the equipment selection. So you're not going to find it listed here or down here. You will be able to identify them by this darker line that goes all the way around. In here it tells us that it is RG601, the amine skid. So all of these equipment will be mounted on that skid because they're all enclosed within that rectangle.